Okay, so how are your knees? Can you be on them on the mat?
Yeah.
Okay, so come forward. Get the blankets out of the way, the block out of the way, and just come into a tabletop position. Let's just get some basic stuff going on. The other thing that's going to help your sciatica is core strength.
Right.
And then once everything feels really good, then you can do all poses, but for a while you don't want to do forward bends. We're not going to do any.
Okay.
So get your hands right underneath your shoulders and your knees right underneath your hips so they're hip width distance apart. And then because there's two of you, it's awesome. You can look over at each other and give each other feedback on how your back looked. Make it parallel to the floor. They both did the same thing. Yeah, and it's fun to see. If you have a mirror, it's nice to look, but it's also better to feel it. So now, Courtney, watch Danielle. Walk your hands forward and make your back longer. Watch her back get longer. Now, okay, now a little bit back, just a hair. So now your knees are just a hair in front of your hips, but it's okay because your back got longer. So now hands, really important. When we start doing downward facing dog, lovely Adho Mukha Svanasana. That's why we call it down dog.
Say that again?
Adho Mukha Svanasana.
Adho Mukha Shavasana.
Shavasana, like the end pose, Shavasana, corpse. That's down dog. Okay. That's why we call it down dog, because it's a lot easier. But when we're in any position with our hands, it's crucial that the hands are working right. So what you want to do is spread the fingers as wide as possible, and the base of it is the L. So put the weight on the base of the thumb and then the forefinger, and reach out through the forefinger, and then spread the rest of the fingers out and distribute the weight evenly. And now here's my favorite, and this is thanks to Tom Hess. Put a garbanzo bean underneath your palm and don't make hummus.
Oh, okay.
So
literally,
we're up take the weight off of here. So carpal tunnel happens because we push too hard into the wrist. So this is how, so it's like you want to try to create a puff of air under the hand. Now you can do it in the middle of the palm like this, but then you have to work harder to not put weight here.
Right.
So it's just better to go to here. And yeah, it takes some finger muscles, and your fingers will get stronger. And we often work with bent knuckles, and then the fingers get stronger that way too. So it just depends on what feels better. Okay. But the key when we're on our hands is no weight here.
Okay.
Carpal tunnel.
We don't want it.
We don't want it, and we don't want to irritate it. So now bring your weight a little forward and get it onto the fingers so that your fingernails will be white. Yeah, right? You know you're doing it right when your fingers are pushing into the floor and the fingernails get white.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing that's good to remember is look down at your fingers and make sure the knuckles are pointing straight up and down and they're not going to the left or the right. Does that make sense? So they're not doing this or this, but straight up and down.
Okay.
And the last thing is to look at the wrinkles on the wrist and make them even. So if you have more wrinkles on the inside, then you know the weight's not even. It's just nice to have all these pieces of feedback.
Absolutely.
And you can take your hands a little wider because you've got pretty broad shoulders like me. Yep. And when we do down dog, you can have your hands as wide as the mat. It makes it easier on the shoulders, and you both said you have shoulder stuff, right? Okay, so now, tops of the feet on the floor, and look back at your feet. This is why we use a mat. Use the lines of the mat and be perfectly in the center and have your feet perfectly parallel to the edges of the mat. So you're both sickled just a little, which means that inside of the foot goes out. Sickle is this.
Okay.
Okay, so you want the foot straight.
So I need to push it more out this way.
Right, and now both of you, so Courtney, you've got it down pretty good. Look over at Courtney's foot. We want to try and push the little toe into the floor as much as the big toe. And so then she's sickled a little bit, so we're just going to go like this. And the key is that the ankle is evenly stretched through both sides. It's really hard to feel it, so this is a good place to see it.
This is going to be hard.
It's tricky. Yeah, so it's going to feel, and it's also because of how much length you have here. Like she can get pretty flat, and oh, there we go. That's what we want, and then that's the idea.
Okay.
That you're trying to get the whole, just like you're doing with your hands, right?
Okay.
All the way across. So you're trying to widen the bottom of your foot, actually. Okay, so now how's your back feel?
Back feels fine.
Wrists are okay?
Wrists are a little.
So keep going into the fingers and take the weight. It's hard to keep that garbanzo bean there. Isn't that a nice image?
Yeah.
It's about the right amount of height. It's a little more work than you want to do.
Yeah.
Which is what I run into in my yoga practice all the time. It's more work than I want it to be.
It's strengthening though,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so now firm up all the muscles in your core so if a big wind came, you would not move.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're drawing your belly in just like we did before. Take the arch out of your back just a little. Yeah. So now let's do a cat-cow just to get your back going. So look up and drop the belly. And then inhale and draw the belly all the way up and let the head hang. And go back and forth with the pattern of your breath. And do about 10 of those. Yeah, beautiful. So you're getting this huge stretch across the top of the back. See if you can get all the way even to here. Yeah. And just back and forth. So that's the inhale when you're looking up. And the exhale is when you drop the head and draw the belly in.
Do we pull the hips in too or no?
You don't have to. If it helps the stretch, it's fine.
It helps the stretch.
Yep. So when your head is up and your butt is up like that, you can keep going back and forth, but just listen. When your butt is up like that, your tailbone is shortening. It's like moving up towards the ceiling.
Okay.
And in a lot of poses, you'll hear me say lengthen your tailbone. So from right here, if you do nothing with the upper body, just imagine lengthening the tailbone. It means to draw the belly in and send the tailbone that way.
Okay.
Without doing it back. So
Lengthen the
just
tailbone.
lengthen your tail right now, which is like get the curve out of your lower back.
Okay.
Same thing. So get used to that. And now widen through the shoulder blades. So yeah, exactly. So it widens and doesn't pinch. And now just go right back to perfectly parallel. And see if you can feel that. Eyeballs look to the floor, and then you know the back of the neck is long. So your eyeballs are dropping right to the floor. Yeah, beautiful. Now, just one more adjustment so you get the sense. Draw these together and let the heart move towards the floor.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a mini cat-cow, but just here. And now go the opposite way and stretch through and push into the floor and make it long here. Yes. So that's just the upper back version, right? Same thing for you, Danielle. So draw the shoulder blades together. Yep. And feel how it lets the heart kind of drop towards the floor. Yeah. Big, big piece of alignment in other places. There. So now stay there in that stable place. You stay here, but now lengthen. Yep. Good. Okay.